So, what exactly is a mind that's being silently transmitted? One time, a student came to a Zen master and said, Teacher, please silence my mind. So, is the teacher doing something? In some cases, some of the stories that I've read, the teacher actually did some things. Um, some of the best Zen stories come from Osho. And if you want to get some really good help on Zen, then I'm going to recommend this one for you. It's Osho Zen Tarot, and it's tarot cards with a book. I can't tell you how good this is, because there's no word better than like excellent, like superb. This is a super, super gift for birthdays, for Christmas, for I haven't seen you in a long time and I thought I'd get you something. This is so, so valuable. So, how does the teacher silence the student's mind? Um, if the teacher is Zen, really, really Zen, then pure creativity might happen. He might do something physically, or he might stare at his students. Very, very, very deep stare. Sometimes these Zen teachers have a invisible aura around them, and it's a silence. And if you come into the presence of one of these people who've got this aura of silence, it will, I mean, everyone has an invisible aura. Maybe that's another talk. But your aura, if it's busy and you've got a lot of talking, inner chatter going on, and you come into the presence of someone who's got a very strong presence, their aura will entrain your aura into silence, because silence is a much stronger vibration than a lot of inner chatter. If you look at the scale of human consciousness, you will see you get to peace at 600 on the scale of human consciousness. And someone who is like a PhD at university and they're using a lot of rational mindedness, that's only at 400. Is there a lot of talking in a PhD's talk at 400? Yes, if you see the textbooks that PhDs write, whatever subject it is, um, their text is, um, if they're in the 400s, their text is probably very wordy. It's probably a thick textbook, and it might be hard to understand. If the PhD in the subject can raise his or her personal consciousness above the levels of 400 and into, let's say, into 600 peace, then when they write, their writing is going to be incredibly improved for clarity because it's going to be written from a higher consciousness state. So, if you are a student and you're finding that the textbook that's assigned by your professor, I can't figure it out, I would encourage you to maybe go to the school library and look for some other textbooks on the subject. And maybe you'll luck out and find another teacher who had a higher level of consciousness when they wrote their textbook, and you might find that it's much easier to understand. Or you could meditate an hour in the morning before you go to your first class, and then maybe for an hour before you start your homework if you have homework at night. Because if you meditate like that, you can raise your consciousness and it will help you understand a difficult textbook. Because you're bringing in higher consciousness, and higher consciousness knows what the writer of the textbook was really meaning. And if it's poorly written, your higher consciousness will give you understanding. There's no reason not to do your meditation because it's going to benefit you tremendously if you're a student. I wish someone had told me this when I was in kindergarten. Never told the word meditation in all of my years of school. And I went to 13th grade in my province, and then I did 3 more years of undergraduate, and I did 2 more years of graduate, and then I took some other courses at college. And not once did any of the professors or teachers say what I just told you. Meditate for a morning, meditate for an hour in the morning and an hour before you go and do your homework at night. No one said that. Why? Because no one told them. And in those days, long before we had the internet, people learned just from textbooks, and they didn't know how to raise their consciousness. In fact, no one understood anything about the scale of human consciousness in those days. No one knew anything about it. Sure, some people appeared to be class clowns, some people were bullies, some people were, I don't know, some people just seemed to be very intelligent. But, in those days they had like an IQ test, and intelligence quotient test, and it didn't really test consciousness directly. It wasn't, they said it really wasn't a good test, but they didn't have the scale of human consciousness. which you can go and look it up. We're just so much more fortunate that we have the internet, and there's a lot of garbage on the internet, you know, so much garbage on it. But the nuggets of truth, if you can find them in there, well, they are there. You need a big vacuum to vacuum up all the garbage out of the internet because there's so much low vibrational, just crap, just crap. Now, I'm really curious to know if I can do silent transmission of mind through the internet to you. Because someone just calibrated my consciousness, not me, someone else that uses muscle testing, just calibrated my consciousness, just like I just saw it like an hour ago, this posting, someone that does muscle testing all the time, and they gave me 661. What's your calibrated level of consciousness? But if you were in my presence, would my 661 help you? Could I silently transmit peace to you? I don't think so. Why? Because I live with some people. And are they getting silently transmitted from me? No. No, they're not. It's a wonderful story that a master can like look at you and just hypnotic eyes and give you silent transmission of mind. But they do say that if you go to meditate with a group of people, it will help you meditate. So I think there's some truth to it. That's why in the Buddhists say a sangha, which is a group of people who are on the Buddhist path. If you're with that group together, it really helps you. So if there's a meditation group that's not too hard for you to get to every day, that's a good idea to go. To sit with other people who are meditating, it'll help you get into a meditative state. Why doesn't it work for the people that hang around me? They don't meditate with me. I think you have to have a certain element of intention to entrain yourself with someone who has got a high level of consciousness. It might work to a certain degree. Eckhart Tolle told a story about he went to visit his aunt, and his aunt was basically a nutcase. And if he spent a certain amount of time with her, he said she did tend to get better. But as soon as he left her presence and went back to his house, he heard that she went back to being nutter. So there you go.